Hi there, this is Dawn. Welcome to my art room and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, there's a combination of videos where I've been dyeing some threads, fabrics, laces, trims, etc. But I've decided to come do them a bit back to front. Yesterday when I was dyeing them, I had a real problem with the video, and I'm sorry. You'll hear me having a carry on about it because I had, disposable gloves on while I was handling the dyes. And every time I tried to push, the button to record, I either turned it off or turned it on in all the wrong places. And so I had to come back and redo things, and yeah, it was all a bit tricky and I got fairly frustrated. So if you want to hang in, I'm apologising now for that level of frustration because it was frustrating. You'll see my hands today are stained simply because I didn't put gloves on when I rinsed them. Probably should have, wouldn't have ended up with hands stained. Funnily enough, they look worse on video than they do in real life. They don't look this coloured in real life. There's a little bit, you can see all the funny little marks that I've got on my fingers, a little bit of staining. I think that was the rubber glove on the day. But when you get to the rinsing part, the dye is no longer active. It will still stain. It's just a stain, but it won't. It'll come off when I have a shower tomorrow. It'll be done. I had a shower before I did it, so I've washed my hands. They're still a little bit. They're slightly tinged, but anyway, I wanted to share with you what I did. Some of it has turned out paler than I expected, and so when I talk about mixing up the dyes, I possibly just didn't put enough dye powder in, or I didn't have the mix of soda ash and urea in its, is absolute correct proportions. And so what I want to say about that is that if you are buying the Procion dyes, make sure you get recipes for quantities that will work for what you want to do. In particular, if you're really looking for a particular colour, you need to make sure that the recipe's correct. And the dye, the company that you buy your dyes from will have that information. So I will talk about in the next part of this video around mixing up the soda ash, which helps to raise the pH level, and the urea, which will actually allow the fibres to take the colour in. And then maybe what I didn't do was make the colour intense enough, but it's pretty good still. So I'm just talking about that. They've turned out paler. Some things are paler than I thought they would turn out. They look quite vibrant when I'm putting it in its red, when it's wet. Wet is what I'm trying to say. When it's wet, it looks more intense, and then when it dries, it dulls down, like any other type of dyeing painting. But I thought I would just share with you what I did. So, I tried to stick to sort of like this one on screen doesn't look quite as yellow, yellowy green colour that it is in real life. And everything is just a bit of a play, a bit of playing, getting something that I like the look of. Just the end of a piece of crocheted tablecloth that I had, probably cut something out of there and used up all these things. As I said, when you begin, the colours are much more intense than what they turn out. This was a piece of you know, this, oh God, my brain just left. I can't remember what you call it. And it was a greyish brown colour, so it's changed the colour of the dye a bit. Oh gosh, my brain is not going to tell me what that word is. You'll know it, you'll see it, and you'll know what it is. But I'm still pretty happy with it. Some cheesecloth. It looks white there. It's not. It's just a paler yellow than some bits are, and all good stuff to actually use. This dyed really well, like amazingly well. Just a lace trim that I bought, and it's really taken the colour really well. Still not like, it's not vibrant. It's well and truly dyed. It's just not dark. A bit more of that crochet trim, a doily. I think it dulls under the lights here. I like this one. It's got these little hearts on it. Another old doily. You know, it's funny how some bits take really intensely and others pale out. And they pale out once you wash it. Another lace trim that I just added colour randomly. Again, it's not white. It's not even cream. It's yellow. But I don't know why. I wonder if I turn the light off. No, I don't think that made any difference, did it? It still looks white under the camera, but it's actually not. It's actually quite yellow. But strangely, on screen, you're seeing something different. Now, this one was interesting, this braid that I dyed, because one side's great and the other side isn't. And I would say when it was being machine made, this thread that they use in the making is a polyester, and these dyes won't dye polyester. But this side is cotton, and so it's taken the colour really well. Not so much on that colour. So yeah, got a bit of a stripe going on. Didn't know that was going to do that till it was done. I've dyed another piece of braid similar to that, and it didn't do that. Oh, but this is what I'm loving. So this was just, you know, crochet cotton, this sort of stuff. It was thicker than this, but I can't see right at this second one that I have. That was the thickness. You can see it in the thread. But I'm loving these. They've turned out great. So that's the sort of weight of it, the thickness of it. These have turned out fabulous. I have my plan for these is to gift them. So I will take them to my retreat on Sunday, and for the ladies that are there doing Susanna's retreat, which is has woodland animals, these threads might be something they might like or use in some other way. But I'm pretty happy with how they all look. You can see them together there. They're all different. There's different variations. I've got some mauve in some brown, orangey colours. I've got some blues, some nice gold colours, and some yellows. So altogether, they look lovely. I'm very happy with them. Another piece of gauze that, again, is paling out for some reason on the screen, but it's pretty good in colour in itself. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with my little bundle of joy. I've done some for Willie, So she's got some lace. Oh, this one is weird. So this was a doily, and here it went really pale. I don't know why. The rest is great, and another pale bit over here. Who would know why that would happen? Hand dyeing something, you're gonna get a bit of hit and miss about it. But anyway, hopefully she likes it. By the time you see this video, she will have it, so that's all right. You'll see me do this one on video. That's a nice piece. She gifted me some of that trim, so I know I've dyed her some of it too in sort of just multicolours. Just make with it what you want then. Another piece of crochet doily. Some blues for her. More yellowy browns, this one. Again, it's funny, if I look down, it's not as pale as that. It's much more coloured. And some gauze for her. She's got some. This one's a beautiful one. That turned out gorgeous. Again, not white in real life. I don't know why it's showing up that it looks white on the screen, but it's not. Oh, pale yellow, but it's not white. That colour's good. So yeah, if I have another dyeing session, I might just add a bit more colour, so that when you get the final thing. The last thing that I did, and I've shared it already, if you've watched my Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, the second vase prompt, I gave you a sneak preview of this. This was a piece of bridal lace, and you'll see me painting this. The flowers didn't take the dye. That one kind of did, but these ones are like white. A little bit of colour on that one. Oops, I don't know why. No idea. But if I turn it over, on this side, you'll see the thread that they would have used in their bobbin would have been a polyester, and no, not dyed, and neither has the tulle that it's that it's backed in. A little bit of colour on that one, but the top colour is lovely, and I've used it now. I've put a bit on my, how gorgeous is that bit with the multicolours in it? I've used a bit in my still life. I love the leaves. This was a gamble. I had no idea. As dark as the flowers are underneath, the little top ones aren't, and that's okay. They can come off. They just peel off. White that one. But the rest of it died. So this one I like. Got a little bit of variation going on here. The blue turned out quite nice. It was an indigo. I don't know why it came out as bright as that, but it did. And the green was called lichen, and it was a bit more yellow than green. And so yeah, some of our stuff is a bit more yellow than green. But I really like how these little bits will be so great to use. And as I said, I'll give you a little sneak preview. Oh no, you will have seen it if you're following along with me. I've added those green leaves to this vase. They're not stitched yet, but yeah, I've just been cutting out bits. I've dyed this once before, or painted it actually, with just I can't remember if I used some Inktense pencils or I used some acrylic paints, and it painted up fine on the top, not underneath. And so I suspected that was going to happen. These are just like clear little sequins. They can come off. I don't need to use them on there. As I said, it was a piece of white bridal lace that I thought I would just cut up. Cool. All right. In 1 second, you're going to see me go backwards and forwards a couple of times while I try and explain about the chemical mix. It's not a chemical, but it's the mix of what needs to happen with the dyes. I'm sorry that I almost have a little meltdown because of the nonsense with recording. Every time I push the button, I was either recording when I didn't want to, dead silence for half an hour while I played with, or, I recorded something that I didn't record what I wanted to record. So yeah, it was all a bit silly. If you can bear hanging in with me, you'll see what I did and how I did it. And yeah, the next time I might just add a bit more dye, make it a bit brighter. But for now, for our woodland theme, I think these threads will work well. If people are interested, I'm definitely going to share them with some of my lovely retreat friends that we keep catching up with. There's lots of colours. What I did was I just wound them into a skein and then tied them up so that when they get them, that'll be like that. So I've just tied them so that they stayed together while I was dyeing it, and then they can wind it off, and they're around 15 metres, so enough to do something with, I think. Cool. Alrighty, I think that's it. You can watch, there's 2 more bits, a little bit backwards and forwards. I'm sorry for that. If that's annoying, my apologies in advance. Hope you enjoy, and you might be inspired to do some dyeing. As I've said in my videos, the Procion dyes are available, and they're available in many countries because I've already seen that. Simply buying them online. They're not a horrible price, but in order to get a variety of colours, you might want to collect them for a little bit if that's what you're into. I am. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the next bit. Bye for now. Oh my goodness. So I'm here with you after recording for, I don't know, half an hour, only to discover when you put gloves on, the record button doesn't always necessarily take the recording. So I've had to go back and have a look. So what actually happened was that I did a video about the dyeing, about making them up. Can't get the gloves on now because my hand's hot and bothered. And so I'm going to go back. I'm going to show you, I'm going to leave that there so you can keep your eye on that for a minute. If I could get the glove on, it'd be great. But my hand's a bit hot now. Cool. All right. So what I'm using are Procion dyes. Start all over again. The Procion is the type of dye that it is. It's a fibre reactive dye, and it's for use on cotton, silks and rayons. And when it has MX in the title, it means it's a mix of colour to make magenta. It has quite specific warnings on it. Oh, I cannot get that glove on at all. I'm going to manage without it because everything's done and dusted now. So, and it's in a powder form. So when you're mixing it, it's safe to use. It's safer to use a mask, like our little obligatory masks that we've probably all still got a box full of in our cupboard, and gloves to stop the dye from penetrating your skin. It's a safety precaution. It's not a serious problem, but I think if you were doing lots and you were continually subjecting your skin to being able to absorb dye, no, I think that wouldn't be good for your health. The powder you want to keep out of the reach of children, but once you've made them up, they're okay. I'm just going to get a different set of gloves. I'm not far. I just thought I could get those disposable ones back on, but I can't because I've been sitting out here for an hour, you know, talking to myself because I didn't record. Silly thing. All right, we'll have these sort of gloves, these whoppers, which will just make my hands even hotter. But anyway, let's just see how we go. Cool. Can't get them on either because I'm too hot now. I'll have to go and cool my hands down. All right, so the powder needs to be mixed with a small amount of water in a paste, and then it needs to be mixed with soda ash, which is a product that you can buy from swimming pool supplies. Nothing's in reach now. Just feeling very cross. Sorry. Okay. Soda ash. It raises the pH level. I get this just from the local supermarket in there, what you use for your swimming pool. But, you know, you can probably buy it from your hardware shop. You can buy it online. It's not baking soda. Soda ash is something quite different. It needs to be watered down into warm water. Everything that I use for my dyeing is just in the box that's got dyes in it. So containers, I tend to use old containers that I'm likely to throw out, you know, disposable dishes, disposable cups. I've got these funny little wooden spoons that come from McDonald's. The kids get their ice creams and I just wash them. Empty ice cream containers, nothing that you would be mistaken for food. The only thing that is a food related item is my measuring spoons, and there's only two of them, a teaspoon and a tablespoon, but again they're just kept in the box with the dyes so that I don't muddle them up. So soda ash to raise the pH, and then urea, which helps the dye to react with fabric. And yes, urea is exactly what you think it is. This comes in a crystal form. The dye supplier has them. I get all my dyes and things from a place called Craft Colour in Victoria, but I've seen that it's readily available in other countries. So again, watered down in warm water. Once you've mixed the dye powder in with a little bit of water in the bottom of whatever you're using, I use these to apply the dye with, just because they're nice and easy. And to this cup, I've added probably, you know, a little more than a quarter of a teaspoon. Not a half a teaspoon, close to probably a half a teaspoon, and 50 mils of the made up soda ash and 50 of the urea, but I've mixed a little bit of water in the bottom first just to dissolve the powder because it's better in cold water. And the urea and the soda need warm water to dissolve. So I get sort of everything up and running, prepared. I've got all my colours organised. Now I've got wait till I just flip you up a bit. So what I've done is I've put the dye powder container behind the thing. I mean, I could mark on these, but you know, I can't really be bothered. So yeah, I've got my surface covered in plastic. I'm outside in the fresh air, but it doesn't have a fume. So the little face masks are perfectly adequate for doing this. And what I've done when you weren't here, I dyed some threads, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with the plastic, although you will see that in the next video. And here I'm just having a play with some bridal lace that I'm not 100% sure how it's going to take the dye, and thought it was worth an experiment. I'm using a process that's just air drying the fabric, so that what I'm doing is wrapping it in the cling wrap. I have designated cling wrap box. This doesn't go back to the kitchen, it stays in my box, my dyeing box of dyes. You just don't know whether there's going to be any residue of anything on there, and I don't think that that's worth it. I don't think that I'm dyeing in the quantities that I'm going to poison anyone with, but I don't need to do that either. Don't need to take the gamble. Simple as that. Not going to. Cool. All right. And so in the next video, the next little bit after this, you will see where I've dyed the threads. I've dyed some lace and some doily, and I've probably said goodbye. All right, you will have seen what I've done prior to this, the end result, but oh my gosh, all of the proper information that I could have told you, I was not recording. My apologies for that. I hope I've given you enough information. Yes, I wear disposable gloves when I'm handling the dyes. I don't go bare hand, use my bare hands. It's just that it's quite a warm day, and I've my hands have got hot, so I might go and cool them down in some cold water so that I can get them back, because I've got a lot of dyeing here to do. Alrighty, you'll see the other steps in a second. Okay, bye. Try now. Oh, cannot believe that I've just done all of these lovely threads. I've talked about mixing colours. No recording going on. So I made this brownie colour because the colour that I had wasn't a brown that I really enjoyed. And so, like any paints, you can mix them. Oh, if I get around to coming back over that information, I'll give it a try. Gosh, I can't believe it. I just looked up and I was like, it doesn't look like it's recording. Oh, no, it wasn't. So that was about 20 minutes gone. Gone. So what I've decided to do is now a bit of lace. So what I was doing was some embroidery thread, or thread to use for embroidery, like a pearl cotton, because I got lots from the op shop in rolls, 50 cents, I don't know, 5 or something for $1 or whatever. It wasn't very expensive. Just make sure that your colour has gone through, because what you don't want to do is, have white underneath. Now, having it on the cling wrap means that the colour is going to stay there and continue to be absorbed, so it won't, it's not sitting dry. Oh, I can't believe that actually happened. Oh my goodness. Oh no, they looked so good. I'll do some more and show you. So what I'm doing is I use these sponges as an applicator. Like anything, the more fluid you add to the dye, the less intense it is. If you want something to be more intense, you might need to think about how much powder you add at the start. I added, as a rule of thumb, in all of these, about 50 ml of the urea and 50 ml of the soda. And there was a small amount in the bottom that I just used as, to dissolve the powder in. I just thought I'm just going to have a play here, and this is purely a play one. This is orange, not very bright. It could be because it's got, a creamy coloured background, but we'll just see how it goes. I thought, how annoying, gosh. So what I talked about was how to make brown by using your colour wheel. I probably don't need that so far away. To support that, because it will show you how, okay, very bright. We'll think about that one, how it looks when we're done. So with your colour wheel, adding the 3 colours, red, blue and yellow, you'll get brown. If you add orange, which is red and yellow and blue, you'll get brown. If you add blue and yellow, which you've got green, you add red, you're going to get brown. Okay, whatever the combination is altogether, you'll get brown. Now it just kind of depends on how brown you want it. I'm just making sure that it's gone, you know, the colour has gone through. And what I am going to be careful of now is making sure that one doesn't overlap the other. I'm kind of thinking I really like this colour in here. I'm going to add a bit more orange into there because I quite like that. You know, this is going a browny colour around the edges simply because it's you know, touching. I might tame that down. I have to think about that colour yellow. I don't know whether I'm super duper fussed on it. I think I've got another yellow, so maybe I need to just adding some green to just tone it down a little bit. I'm just adding bits. I don't want it to be a huge amount, so yeah. Can you see at all? Oh yes, you can see, good. Oh, I nearly can't see you because, as I said, I'm sitting outside and I've got a bit of glare on the screen of the iPad. All right, cool. So that's that one. What I'm going to do is fold the cling wrap over the top of the flowers so that they won't touch each other. I have no idea what I've told you and what I haven't told you. So the method of having the dye set is called air dried. So what I'm doing here is making sure these are staying flat. They're not folding over even on top of themselves without a layer of plastic between, simply because I want to try and keep that colour reasonably pure. All right, but I can fold it now. Well, will I? It should be okay, except you know what I don't want it to do? I don't want it to just sort of like squeeze the fluid. So I'm not. I'm gonna lay it down over here. Oh, sorry. There. All right, cool. Let's do some threads. How annoying that happened. So yeah, so where I was going with air drying is that being wrapped up in the wrap, it'll keep it moist for 24 hours. And then you rinse it out as you would do any other type of dyeing till it runs clear, and dry it and Bob's your uncle. The difference with this sort of dyeing is that once it's set, I've just got some more threads here, so I'm just going to do a few of those. Oh, still struggling with what actually happened then. How silly. Here comes the bin man, sorry. He's a bit noisy out the front. I forgot about him. All right, so just making sure that you wet the threads and that they are wet. Some threads or fabric repel, and if that happens, it's going to need soaking for a bit longer, simply because the dye won't take either. If the fabric won't take water, it won't take dye. It's as simple as that. All right, I'll do a few more because I can fit a few on here. Sorry. Still having to carry on over the no recording business. But I'm going to do this little bit and then I'm going to love and leave you, because, you know, it's the same. It's the same for everything. There might be one other thing that I do. I just cut up my bits of lace, and I've got gauze here to do, I've got doilies to do, I've got some lace trim to do, and you do need to squeeze it out, because of course what you don't want to do is water it down anymore. Yes, they do get a little bit tangled when you're trying to do it. What I do when I wind it into a skein is I tie them at either end, so that when we, you know, going through this process, otherwise you just end up with a tangled mess. So yeah, the thread dyeing threads in as a to be variegated, depending on how far between your colorway you want it to go, and you know, you might want lots of green, or you might want, you know, I'm going to put brown in it, which is what I was doing when I thought I was recording, was just to simply you know, you just put it wherever you want it. Is that what I was trying to say? Okay, the brown is here. What I did was, when I first started to add the brown, it was quite red. It still is a bit red, but it's better than it was. I wanted this sort of woodland effect. Probably by the time you see this video, yes, by the time you see this video, I will be in Ballarat. I'll schedule it for, you know, like sometime next week. The reason being is that I'd like to give it as gift, you know, like a strand of thread. And the theme of this retreat is around woodland animals. And I just thought that it was something, yeah, nice to do, really. Not anything else. Not for any other reason. Lots of people that are coming are my some of my lovely people that tune into me on YouTube, and I just thought, you know, it's always nice to be grateful, and I am very grateful and love the fact that so many people are joining me. I hope this doesn't scare people off, because it's not, you know, it's probably not for everyone. But I remember when I was doing it, I would have loved somebody to show me what to do. It was a lot of hit and miss and trying to work it out. Now, as far as the soda and the urea go, measurements, how much dye, how much water, all of that. If you're wanting to dye a piece of fabric and have it exact, you're going to need to get the recipe, and the dye people will be able to, you know, the company that distribute the dyes will be able to give you that information based on weight. So what I've done is I've just folded over the edge of the cling wrap, folded over again. So between now each skein of thread, there's cling wrap. So it won't affect itself, you know, each other, and it won't even affect itself. So once we've rolled it up like this and made sure the cling wrap is sealing-ish, you know, it doesn't have to be watertight, but what we don't want to do is lose that precious dye that's in there. And it can be rolled, which is what I did a minute ago. Unbeknownst to you. Cool. All right, they can go there. The last thing that I think I'll do is, she says groaning, she gets up, is this. And this is going to be simply an experiment. I have no idea how much of it will dye and how much of it won't. But I use it all the time in its white form, so I'm not too bothered if it actually doesn't dye. But I thought it might be interesting just to see. It's a machine-made bridal trim thing. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Gosh, got you with the Glad wrap. All right. Are you still with me? I didn't shoot you off into oblivion. Cool. All right. So, you know, it's a piece that I've cut up. And so it's not going to be, you know, glamorous entirely. But I suspect that some of it is like a polyester nylon, and some of it will have a cotton base. And so I just thought, no harm. You know, these things are just, they're just fun. They're just something to do. Slightly too warm to be doing it today. I was waiting for a cooler day and thought this morning that that's what I was going to get, but it's yeah, it's not. Never mind. I might put a little bit of that brown in there. Oh yeah, it'll probably dye that. Oh, I don't know if it will dye it. And there's sequins on here. There's like clear sequins that you'll see now that I've been doing this. And I just put it on like I put on paint. I have a play, I think I like those two together. They'll look all right like that. And possibly they will dye a bit. I just don't know what they really will do. And so I thought, I might as well have a play together. With this last little bit, I'm going to sign off here. Whatever I do now, it's just kind of all the same. Nothing else changes about it. Whatever, if I'm dyeing, you know, lace, or if I'm dyeing a trim, threads, you know, fabric can be dyed in a similar way. I'm just playing here. And so until we've dried it and rinsed it, you know, this might just all wash off. I have no idea, because I've not dyed it before. I don't actually know what it will do, and it's going to be a mystery to you and me. So stay tuned. Well, no, don't stay tuned. You will have seen it. I will come back and... No, this might be it. This might be it. This might be me saying goodbye. I think it probably is. Yeah, I think... Oh, let's say goodbye. I've got to... You know, once I've finished doing this, I will be leaving it to dry overnight and rinsing it off tomorrow. And then what I thought I'd do tomorrow is do a video of it finished, and then, yeah, so you will have seen that already. So I'm telling you now, and I don't actually need to. Cool. You'll have seen in some of my artwork other bits of trim and lace and braid that I've used. This is how I did it. Cool. All right. Well, I hope you've hung in with me, and, you know, have fun if you want to have a go at it. The Procion dyes are readily available in most countries, I think. Cool. Talk to you again soon. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Bye.